Hey guys, all content discussed in this channel is due diligence gathered with aim at better understanding the nature of the current market in anticipation of the greatest squeeze in financial history. Let's dive right in. So, today we are switching things up a bit and are going to talk about a scandalous development that made too little headlines for reasons that will become very apparent. Russian oligarchs have found loopholes in the financial and legal systems by which they can break the restrictions and laws implemented by the American government and continue to invest in the US stock market. We will be narrowing the scope of today's story down to one man, but this is something that is growing and happening with various of these powerful Russian individuals. It's going to be shorter than usual video, but a very important one that illustrates the incompetence of the system and how laws do not apply to the rich. You see, for years, Russian oligarchs have been deploying many shell companies which route money through small European banks with connections to Wall Street firms, quietly transferring and placing billions of dollars with some of the most prominent hedge funds and equity firms known. The New York Times broke a story with interviews from people involved in the matter that said Roman Abramovich used a shell company back in 2012 registered in the British Virgin Islands that wired $20 million to an investment vehicle in the Cayman Islands that just happened to be controlled by a large American hedge fund. This kind of operations where money is moved from Russia to Europe to the Caribbean to the United States is unknown to most, but it's actually the blueprint and go-to plan by which the rich and powerful avoid all kinds of regulatory oversight while breaking numerous laws. The most important factor in all of this is that every corporate director, every hedge fund manager or lawyer involved in this can, under the eyes of the law, say that they aren't working with oligarchs such as Abramovich. In fact, the way this tactic is used, some of the participants aren't even aware of the money they are helping manage. The recent developments in Ukraine now have forced the hand of the governments by directive orders of presidents to begin to put pressure and hunt down on these secretly hidden fortunes. The IRS, for example, has been asking Congress for more resources to help oversee Biden's sanctions program. In the Capitol Hill, lawmakers are pushing for a bill known as the Enables Act, which will require investment advisors to identify and be more careful when they vet customers. Abramovich, whose net worth puts it around $13 billion, has had his assets frozen, which include the famous Chelsea Football Club in London. The United States has not placed any sanctions on him as of yet, though. In the United States, Abramovich owns luxury residences and other real estate assets, but the bulk of his money is actually sitting in the safest place criminal and tainted money could ever sit, Wall Street. Financial institutions are the ones actually guarding most of the wealth he has here in the US. Firms like Concord Management have facilitated all of this. They don't directly manage Abramovich's money, but rather act as investment advisors and a due diligence firm. They make recommendations to the directors of the shell companies in the Caribbean tax havens about the best potential investments. When you look a little further into Concord, you will begin seeing very close ties to Credit Suisse, Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley, who have introduced Concord executives to hedge funds. Over the years, Concord has been arranging hundreds of investments across different hedge funds and private equity firms for Abramovich, and some of these funds are actually managed by BlackRock and Bear Stearns. Yes, you heard that right. BlackRock is also somehow involved in all of this scheme. Concord steered tens of millions of dollars from two shell companies to a Texas hedge fund known as Highland Capital. Highland hired J.P. Morgan to ensure the companies were legitimate and that the investment complied with anti-money laundering rules. Of course, J.P. Morgan found no issues in their investigation and cleared the investments, a shocker to absolutely no one. The Cayman Fund opened for business in July of 2012 when $20 million arrived by wire transfer. It remained running as an independent entity, buying and selling ETFs and employed by fund managers' main U.S. hedge funds. As American institutions were asked to comment on what exactly have their relationship been with the Cayman Island and Virgin Islands, they all declined to comment. We see that in 2016, investigators filed suspicious activity reports alerting the government to transactions that Concord arranged involving a ton of Abramovich's shell companies in the Caribbean. Remember that American companies are required to file such reports to help the US government combat money laundering crimes, but to the surprise of no one, there were no inkling or reports made. These reports are not evidence of any wrongdoing, they are just reports of unusual activity, but nothing was filed. J.P. Morgan was requested to comment by a spokeswoman declined. Nobody is saying anything right now, probably because as this story has come to light, there could be consequences for them if they get caught and prosecuted by the law. Nothing serious though, just the typical slap on the wrist and don't do it again type of scenario at worst. It was a short video, but one that I wanted to share with you guys so you can see how deeply embedded criminality is in the system. There is a loophole for every rich corporation and person out there, and we need to keep talking about it and bringing it to light. I want to thank Matthew Goldstein and David Enrich for their amazing work interviewing and collecting some of the evidence. That is all I have for you guys. Thank you for making it to the end of the video if you are still here. Be sure to come on over and join the Discord for an even more engaging experience with fellow investors. We have tons of things there, from conversations about GameStop and AMC to day trading alerts, so give it a try. Links will be down in the video description. If you want to support this channel, I have a Patreon link in the description as well as some one-time donation links for Cash App and PayPal. If you join the $25 Patreon tier, you will have access to all things premium, where you can be part of a huge day trading community and get alerts to the best stocks to day trade with clear entry and exit prices. Thank you again for being a part of this channel. I will continue striving for better content. Enjoy the rest of your day, keep on buying the dip and to the moon.